Estás jugando a thestanleyparable Ultra Deluxe. Iniciar. No sé
This is
si...
the story of a man named Stanley.
Pará.
Stanley worked for a company
Estaba sonando el Spotify, boludo. Yo no me lo puedo creer.
in a big building where he was
Ajá.
employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Ok.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
¿Por qué?
Something he would never quite forget.
¿Por qué?
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order
No.
had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Pobre.
Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok. Ah, soy Stanley. Ok. O sea, soy el que le produce a Chris MJ, ¿puede ser? Bueno, me gusta cómo va el juego y cómo se ve. ¿Qué es esto? Como un backroom. De Stanley Backroom. No se abre
All
nada.
of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No puedo
matter
interactuar
how
con
hard
nada.
Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his
Este vago va a
co-workers.
estar diciendo todo lo que yo haga. Apagué la única computadora que estaba prendida.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click
¿Qué
a door
logro?
5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50
Okay.
clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward
Pero-
for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
417 20 veces, ¿cómo? Ok, entonces yo tengo que buscar... Este juego se trata de buscar la razón por la cual estoy atrapado en la oficina. La última vez que jugué un juego de una oficina había un bicho que me quería matar. Espero que no sea... Que no sea el caso. La 437. ¿Dónde queda?
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
Amigo, este vago me está rompiendo mucho la pija.
Now, back to door number 437.
Oh, no, vos sos un hijo de mil puta.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
¿Dónde? Hay una copy machine. Hijo de puta.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Ey, me está pelotudeando. El narrador me está pelotudeando.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
¿Cómo que me suba? ¿Cómo voy a subir, pelotudo? No me lo puedo creer. No puedo saltar, pelotudo. ¿Cómo crees que me suba? ¿Cómo me subo?
Yes, this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416. We've almost got it! Now the copy machine do that one again! Finish it off, Stanley! 5 clicks on door 430! Yes! We did it! Oh, wow. That felt amazing. Oh, you really earned it, Stanley. Nothing could hold you back. Yes, I'm very proud of how far we've come today. Just think, only a few minutes ago you believed an achievement was worth 5 little clicks. Really now, what were you thinking? When Stanley came to a set of
Mueve el
2 open
cuello.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
La de mi izquierda.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
No sé, es que amigo, siento que... No sé, está muy mal. El narrador me está pelotudeando, no sé. Es terrible esto, amigo. ¿Cómo me va a estar pelotudeando un narrador de un juego que ni me conoce?
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Me está pelotudeando.
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
La primera puerta a mi izquierda. Ah, no pasa
Stanley was
nada.
so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
¿Dónde chota me metí? Soy un pelotudo, amigo. ¿Por qué no le hice caso? ¿Por qué? ¿Pero por qué mierda no le hice caso a este tipo?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
¿Por qué?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
¿De qué habla?
I've been waiting.
Pero... ¿quién me está esperando?
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
No sé si... no sé. ¿Cómo lo voy a agarrar? A ver.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
¿Qué pasa?
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
¿Qué?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
Boludo.
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
¿Con qué
So
chicos?
he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Pero... ¿Pero de qué
As he
habla?
wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Pero yo no elegí nada de eso, amigo. ¿Qué historia le voy a
It
contar a
was
mis
such a
hijos?
wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be?
Él es para decirle a tu esposa que la amas.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Prime G para irte a dormir. Sí, por
And I'm
favor.
trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Bueno. Le voy a hacer caso, boludo. Oh, pero si voy a tener que estar 20 horas acá, yo lo presiono y que me chupe la reverga ese tipo. Voy a ir al
You
trabajo.
see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué tendría que presionar Y para no cuestionarme nada?
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Muere.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
¿Eh?
All of his co-workers were, oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
No.
Click a door 5 times. Is that all
No,
that
no.
you think an achievement is
No.
worth? No.
No.
I
Deja,
can't
deja.
just give these merry
No quiero, ya está, ya lo hice. Ya, basta, déjame en paz. Te voy a hacer caso. Te voy a hacer caso.
He entered the door on his left.
Te voy a hacer caso. No rompa la pija, pelotudo. Ahora le tengo que hacer caso en todo al hijo de puta este, boludo.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Bueno.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ay, que tengo ganas de no hacerle caso, boludo.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it.
Pobre Stanley, boludo, me da pena porque es un tipo, cerrá el orto, es un tipo que labura todo el día, boludo, y no puede tener un sueño. ¿Y por qué me estoy haciendo grande? ¿Y por qué ahora me estoy haciendo chico? Amigos, no. Esto es muy flashero. Esto es muy flashero.
This was not a dream. How could it be? So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want.
Amigos, que esto es demasiado flashero. ¿Por qué abre los ojos de vuelta? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué sigo acá?
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name
Basta,
is Stanley.
amigo.
I have a
Basta.
boss. I have an office. I am real.
Basta, ¿qué está
Please,
pasando?
can someone tell me I am real?
¿Qué está
I must be
pasando?
real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
¿Qué pasa, boludo?
And everything went black.
Pero, amigo.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
Pero está muerto.
Then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
¿Qué? Ah, no. Claro. El juego es corto, pero te va mostrando distintos finales. Tiene muchos finales. Bueno, vamos a subir.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845.
2845.
2845.
Ay, no.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened.
Soy un pelotudo, soy un pelotudo. No sé, amigo, tengo ganas de hacerle caso. A ver qué pasa.
Straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Yo no creo que una puerta que ya escape me ayude a escapar, la verdad. Por cómo estoy con los tiempos, me parece que voy a hacer un solo final más, ¿ok? Y si apoya mucho el video, ¿ok? Si apoya mucho el video, si le va muy bien, si a la gente le gusta y si todo sale bien, puedo llegar a hacer una serie de haciendo distintas cosas en este juego, como pasándome los distintos finales. Si no estoy mal, esto es como un Superliminal, como el juego ese, Superliminal, que no lo jugué, que también me gustaría jugarlo en los stream. Y todos estos juegos que tienen así varios finales y que son re filosóficos y todo, me vuelven loco. Así que vamos a ir. Controles de recuerdo están esperando una entrada.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Lo apago. ¿Qué pasó?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze on his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Ok. Me pasé el juego como el narrador quería que me lo pase. Ok. Entonces, hasta ahora hice 3 finales. El primero, en el que el narrador me mataba por no hacerle caso. El segundo, en el que me volvía loco. Y el tercero, en el que me lo pasé como el narrador quería. Bueno, gente, muy lindo el juego, boludo, muy lindo, la verdad.